Hi, I'm Darren Smart, this is Smart Reselling, and firstly I apologise that I haven't made a video in such a long time, but I've just been so busy with the house move and stuff up to Yorkshire from Essex, so it was a pretty decent move. We've had so much work done to this property so far and there's still a bit more to do, and my business went into a different direction. I was still doing eBay, but the way that I was sourcing items, the way that I was listing them and sending them up to the Huboo warehouse, or sending them down to the Huboo warehouse where I am now, most of that stuff meant that the turnaround was so quick that I didn't really have time to film much of it and go through the day-to-day stuff that you normally would when you're doing a YouTube reselling channel. But that is about to change. Some of you may have seen that I made a video talking about Huboo, and in fact it was a live hangout with Nick and Andrea Hills. Now up to that point I'd been using Huboo for about 4 months, 4 to 5 months, and everything that I had experienced with them was actually really good. Of course there were a few issues, there was a few little billing issues here and there and the odd item that went missing, but nothing that would have been over the normal that could have happened to me. You know, I could have overpaid for shipping, or I could have had an item lost in the post if I'd sent it myself. So it was nothing really that big and that much of an issue. And in fairness to them, they dealt with it very quickly. When I did have an issue, normally within 24 hours, 48 hours, or of course if it was the weekend, then you at least give them the whole weekend. But they dealt with it, and they dealt with it quick. Now, unfortunately, as we were gearing up for Q4 and I sent up more and more items, I noticed these struggles starting to show with Huboo. Now, not just because of my items, just, you know, I'm not a huge seller. It's not like I sent up 5,000 items and said, check these in a day. I'm quite a moderate eBay reseller still, and, you know, I try and aim for a good array of items, some £5–10 items, yeah, and then there's some that are 100–200 items, pound items. So I have a good mixture of items, not necessarily large quantity. But I knew that overall a lot of people would be sending their stuff into them, because obviously Q4 is one of, or can be one of, the busiest times for us resellers. Now, I kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt when issues started to happen in October, because I figured, well, okay, November is going to be quite busy for them. They're going to be getting a lot of stock sent in ready for Q4. November was full of problems, full of issues. There was billing issues. There was stock checking in issues. There was stock that wasn't where it was meant to be. There was normally you can kind of understand when sometimes some of the packers there, they may mispack one of your items. So for example, this is my phone here, and this, you know, is a small item, but you find that sometimes it would say that it was sent as a medium parcel, and you think, well, this isn't a medium parcel, let's be fair. But that's okay, you know, in the past when that's happened, you would just sort of say to them, I think that may have been sent incorrectly. It's definitely a small parcel. And they'll say, apologies, here's a credit note on your account. No problem. Well, that started to happen quite often in November. And I figured, well, okay, you know what? They're going to be a lot more busy. But I'm just going to keep telling them that, listen, you know, I've got some that have been missent here. And in the end, I had credit owing to me of around £22. So nothing major, but, you know, it kind of adds up. I've only just recently had that been put on my account. I'm tempted to say February, but it may have been late January that it was finally added to my account after multiple people said it would get done, and after me contacting multiple people, including the boss of the company, to say, look, this kind of is still owing to me. Normally it won't be a problem, but reading between the lines, yes, it's only £22, but reading between the lines, it makes you start doubting whether or not they are actually able to do what they tell you they are doing. So that was, you know, that's just one of the issues. I had another issue where, well, actually, before I get to that, let me go back in the timeline a little bit. That was, you know, end of October, November. December hit and it didn't really get much better. In fact, it got worse. I counted on my screen that any time that an item gets picked by Huboo, or at least the order gets picked by Huboo off of your store when it sells, the order number and the information of the address and what have you goes through to their system. They then pick the item, pack the item, they charge you for packing materials, which is fine, and then they pack up the item for shipping and they send it out. And we get billed the total cost of all that, which isn't really much. It's not like it's £3 if you did it at the post office and £18 if you did it with them. It may be an added like 50 pence or whatever, so it's not exactly much. But I noticed that on the dashboard, the tracking numbers weren't coming up for all of my items. There was a lot of missing items. I counted personally between 11 and 17 in December where the tracking numbers just weren't there. And usually, once again, you can contact Huboo and you can say, listen, the tracking number wasn't updated. Could I please have the tracking number updated? Because frankly, eBay kind of care about that stuff, especially around Christmas. Normally, as long as the tracking shows that the item was dispatched on time and arrived on time, then even if a customer says it arrived late, you can get that scrapped off of your account because we have tracking proof. The item was actually sent, and it's not our fault if it's late because it's raw amounts. Well, of course, without those tracking numbers, eBay don't care. Really, they're going to ask for proof that it was sent, and we don't have that because there's no tracking number. So I sent an email to Huboo saying, listen, I've just noticed that actually a lot of the tracking numbers weren't uploaded in December, and this is now a bit of an issue because I kind of need those. Didn't get any reply to that whatsoever, and I still haven't on that. I did have some eBay customers open up item not received, and it just so happened that the item not received tallied up to the ones that the tracking numbers weren't uploaded. Now I know, or at least I feel, this is only my experience, my personal experience, but I feel that they were never sent out. And for me, I feel validated in that mentality because I've had other resellers say the exact same thing, that a customer didn't get the item and it just so happens that the tracking number wasn't on the system. So of course I had to then smooth it over with the customers. I had to then contact Huboo and say, well, customer didn't receive this item. Any chance of compensation? Only to be met with an email back saying, well, I'm not surprised that the customer didn't get the item because it's still sat here on our shelf. And you're there thinking, well, hang on a minute, why isn't anybody telling me this? If an order goes through the system and it wasn't sent out, tell me so I can deal with it the moment that happens. Instead they just send back an email saying, oh, it's still in our warehouse. Do you want us to send it out? And you think, well, yes, of course I want you to send it out. It's what I'm paying you for. What else would you like me to suggest that you do with my items that you haven't shipped out? Build a fort and play pirates? No, I want you to send out the items because guess what? I'm paying you for it. And to top it all, when you go to the billing screen, I've been charged on every single one that hasn't gone out, and I've got 2 at the moment well, I'll get to that. But on all the ones that they haven't sent out, and they admit they haven't sent out, I've been charged picking fees, packing fees, material fees, and Royal Mail shipping fees. Now I find it amazing how I can get charged 4 separate fees. That yes, it make up 1 fee overall, but 4 separate fees on an item that was never sent out, never picked, never packed. Where are these ghost fees coming from exactly? So, I've brought up multiple times with multiple account managers, and I've had 3 in my time since being with Huboo. I've been passed on to 3 separate account managers, all of which I personally feel have gotten worse since. Like the first one I had was great. Second one, not so good. Should say a lot to me that wasn't true. Third one doesn't even know how to use the system. So you'd think that the longer you're there, the more value they would see you. But no, much like a lot of companies, this, once again, my experience, my personal view and opinion on this, is that I felt more devalued the further that I was there, the longer I was there. So, this brings us to the end of December, and I've decided, you know what, I think I might be done with this company, because it's taken between 4 and 7 days just to get a reply from them, which some people may not seem as that bad, but when you've got an item that was meant to have been shipped and it wasn't, say for example on a Monday, and I get straight contact with Huboo, and I say, listen, this item really needs to get shipped today. It was meant to, and for some reason it wasn't. I need this item shipped. And then 7 days later, the customer's in your ear every day saying, look, any update? And I'm saying, I've got to get in contact with my warehouse staff who aren't talking to me. 7 days later, the customer still hasn't got their goods. So I either have to cancel it or keep them sweet for long enough in the hope that Huboo eventually see my email and send it out. So anyway, so as I say, end of December, I decide I'm probably done. I figure I might give them one last chance. Maybe it was just a December rush. Maybe they just couldn't handle the influx of items coming in for Q4. Now, one of the big problems, or at least I feel was a big problem, is the genius idea that someone at Huboo, I'm guessing the boss, Martin, I don't know for sure, I don't want to say for sure because I don't know how the internal structure of that company's run, but someone had the bright idea that mid-December, okay, one of the busiest and most important times for us eBay resellers and for any retailer, they came up with a genius of an idea of moving warehouses. So every single item from their warehouse in Bath, which is where I sent all my items, was suddenly all moved to Bristol. During one of the busiest periods in retail, in reselling, in the world, they decided to do that. Items went missing. Items were, the SKUs were, came off where they were just throwing them in boxes and moving them along to the other warehouse. I had email saying, oh, well, there's no SKU on this. I'm like, well, there was before you decided to move it. Or I had an email saying, oh, we went to pick this item for shipping and it's damaged. And you think, well, it wasn't, because it was fine when it reached you, because how they used to work is when you used to send in your items and they took out every item from the box, they used to instantly email you to say if an item was damaged. Now, obviously, the item was damaged in the box by me when I sent it to them. So you sort of say, oh, okay, thanks for telling me, because I didn't want to send that out to a customer. Just discard it and I'll end the listing on eBay. Well, they stopped doing that. So when the items were damaged, they just put them back on the shelf. So, of course, a customer would buy it and then they'd open up a case against you saying, this isn't what I ordered, this is damaged. This brand new and sealed collectible action figure is smashed to smithereens. And I used to assume that it was done by Royal Mail. But obviously not, because I've got recent proof that they actually damaged items themselves, which I'm dealing with Huboo at the moment. So as I say, that really didn't help, the moving of the warehouse mid-December at the busiest time of year. But once again, I figured, you know what, they've done that now. Maybe this will streamline the business. They told us that one of the reasons they're doing it was so their account managers weren't in 2 locations. Apparently, they always had these 2 locations, but they just moved everything from one to the other one. Now, once again, I feel that that's false, because I've been in contact with certain account managers who have informed me that they weren't currently where the stock were. So if I said, oh, could you go and have a look at this item for me, or could you just go into the warehouse and check, make sure that item, you do actually have that still, because it's showing as not on the system anymore. And they would come back to me and say, well, we've emailed the warehouse staff, and once they gets sorted over there, they'll let us know. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. You told us one of the reasons you moved to the new warehouse, or at least combined it, merged it all, was so you were in the warehouse with all of my stuff, should I need any help. Well, that's obviously not the case. There are sometimes, some occasions, where people are emailing from a different location. So that's not helped at all. And I felt kind of lied to as to the reason why the warehouse was being merged. So, as I say, end of December, I decided, you know what? I might bring back some sticky stock because I don't want to incur charges for stuff that hasn't sold in like 4 or 5 months. Bring some of that stuff back. And I might discard some of the other stuff. So I sent them an email and I said, listen, I would like, these are the SKU numbers, or the parcel numbers as they call them. I would like that lot back because I could rebundle that and resell it here, or I could take it to a boot sale and move it on there. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that I would like discarded. You know, is that possible? At this stage, I don't even realise that you could do that. But they said, not a problem. We can discard that and we'll send you back the stuff that you want. Perfect. Now, unfortunately, that didn't quite go to plan because it took like 7 days for them to return that stuff to me, even though they said it would be done in a day. Now, I wasn't too fussed because it was only sticky stuff anyway. But eventually I got it back and I didn't think anything of it, and I thought, fine, that's great. Then I wanted to do it again. Now, bear in mind, I was also told that my items were also discarded. The ones I didn't want. Perfect, no worries. So then I needed to do it again. And I said, look, I just want to bring back some of these items. These items are like under £10 items. I don't really want them on my store anymore. I want a sort of limit of £9.99 and up in my store. So anything that was under £10, I gave them a list of all the items. I said, can I have them back, please? No problem. That will get done like today, and we'll DPD it for tomorrow for you. So I'm like, fantastic. If I can have it back tomorrow, that's great. This was Thursday. So contacted on Friday and I said, any chance of a tracking number, please? And they sent me a tracking number for DPD. And I noticed that the tracking showed that they hadn't actually collected my parcel. And this was Wednesday, and it was meant to be delivered to me Thursday. So I asked for the tracking Thursday, and it says not even picked up. So I thought, that's a bit strange. Surely they would have picked it up by now. But okay, so I left it Friday, and about 8 PM on a Friday night, I messaged Huboo again and said, listen, it's kind of saying that the parcel hasn't even been picked up. So what's the issue? And the account manager emailed me back and said, oh, that's strange. I'll look into it. I'll contact our DPD guy and see what the problem is, because it was definitely picked up. Okay, fair enough. Could just be a glitch. No problem. Saturday rolled over. Still says that the parcel wasn't picked up. So I'm like, all right, okay. Sunday, obviously, I didn't expect anything anyway. And then Monday still says it wasn't picked up. So I contacted my account manager and said, look, not being funny, but it obviously wasn't picked up. So any update from DPD? Is it a glitch, or is it been lost in their system, or what? I said, because this is quite a lot of stock I'm asking back. Not great value, but great, quite a lot of stock. I got an email back from her saying, look, this parcel was definitely picked up on Thursday. Oh, and by the way, you've got a new account manager, so don't message me. She's your point of call, or point of service, I think they called it. So I'm done with it. See ya. Oh, right, okay, that would be nice. To be told that I've got a new account manager. So I emailed the new account manager on Monday. Got no reply. So I had to email Martin, who then admitted that actually the box was never picked up. Nothing, well, I'm not going to say nothing was packed. He seemed to indicate that the box wasn't even picked up. So it was rebooked in for Monday, and I finally got it Tuesday. And I figured this is a joke. Why would account managers tell me and guarantee me that an item was picked up when it wasn't? It's a blatant lie. I was lied to. and then I was passed on to a new account manager. So the issue that I had was, because of the issue with that, I decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm done fully. So I emailed Martin and I said, look, thanks for sorting out the sticky stock, or not sticky stock, it would have been the low price stock. I said, please see this as now an official request for all of my items back, because I'm done with you. I've had far too many issues, and there's been loads. You know, there's been loads. Some of them I haven't even gone into in this, but there's been far too many. So I said, look, I'm done. All of my stuff back. Cheers, done. And I gave it a week. Over a week, nothing was done. Items were still selling on eBay, and then Huboo was still sending them out. And I'm like, you know, I've put in an official request. So I had to do it again 7 days later, and I said, look, I've asked for my stuff back, and you've shown no interest at all. The new account manager still hasn't even messaged me back. And I've not heard from you either. So I want my stuff back. Send it to me, just like you said you would in the original live hangouts. It was going to be so easy, and if you wanted your stuff back, you just ask, and oh look, it's there on your doorstep. Rubbish, because it wasn't. So in the end, I managed to finally get my new account manager to reply to me and say, is there anything that we can do to stop you? I'm like, no, I just want my stuff back. I'm done with you. So this is where it gets really crazy, because I say, look, I want all my stuff back, and she finally arranges it after like a week and a half to get the stuff back to my door. And it was DPD 24 hours before 12 service that they used. Fine. Okay. So I'm sitting here. The door goes. 2 big boxes arrive. And you know what it's like. Sometimes, although you know what you sent up, you don't always know what it will look like packed in boxes by professionals, or at least that's what they call themselves. I kind of disagree, to be honest. But 2 massive boxes arrived, and I thought, great. Perfect. Now I had 181 or 182 items that was meant to be coming back to me, because I'd been bringing stuff back in sort of dribs and drabs, and I'd been selling stuff. I was kind of dwindling down the stock a bit. But I had 108, just say 180, just to round it up, items that I needed returned back to me. And I opened these boxes, and I'm like, great, finally I've broke free from Huboo. I can finally start doing my own thing again. Open up the boxes, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't look normal to me, because yes, it was my stuff, but it worked out there was about 50 items out of the 180 that I was meant to get back. And amongst those items was all the stuff that I asked to be disposed of about 2 months prior. Which means that when I checked my billing screen, they were still showing up as items that I would eventually have to pay storage on. Even though I was assured, once again, by the same account manager who discarded me and lied about a box, in my opinion, lied about a box being picked up. It was that same account manager who told me that these items were disposed of, and they weren't. They ended up back in my box. So they were sitting there for months and months and months, which, you know, I could have been at least trying to sell again, or, you know, if I knew they weren't going to be disposed of, I would have just asked for them back. I only asked for them to be disposed of because I had no real use for them. But then suddenly they're there sitting in my hallway in these boxes instead of my stock that's actually listed for sale. So I'm like, okay, so I've got like 50 items back of 180. So of course I instantly message my account manager and say, I think I was actually missing 101 items. So it must have been 151 items or something like that. Not 180, but either way, a lot of items. So of course I instantly message my Huboo account manager and I say, where's my stuff? I'm missing loads of items here. And she said, oh, was you expecting more items? That's everything in the warehouse. So I said, well, it's not, because I'm missing, and I went through every item that I was meant to get back, went through, cross-referenced that to everything in the box, or boxes, and I was, as I say, that's where I found out I was 101 items missing. I had the parcel numbers for all of them, and I said, look, I'm missing 101 items. I said, you're a professional picking, packing, shipping service who misses 101 items. I said, that's not just, poor planning. That's just not, but a mistake. That's just being inept. How do you miss 101 items off somebody's account when I told you specifically I want all my items back and my account closed? So she's like, oh, well, I'll have a look in the warehouse then, I guess. I'm like, yeah, you will. It's kind of what your job is. Eventually, she said, look, we found your items. Can we do these DPD next day? 24 hours, pre-noon, I think she called it, pre-12. So I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. I got her to email the warehouse and cross-reference everything that they've put in the boxes with my list, so I know it's all there. Didn't get any reply to that. It was just sent, although the account manager said that they would do that, but I didn't get any notification of that necessarily. So next day, 2 big boxes arrive. I'm like, great, these should have been here yesterday, but whatever, they're here. I go through them all. All of my items are there, and 5 of them are damaged, and damaged to the point where they've actually been crushed in. I'm going to grab a few of them now, and I'm going to show you those. So there's this one here. Okay, these are all part of like a massive haul that I picked up kind of late last year. But there's this one here, which, as you can see, it's been crushed at the bottom. So what's happened is it's split totally. And this is actually a common theme with the ones that I got back from Huboo, is that the bottom corners seem to always be kind of crushed. So then we've got this one here, which is an X-Men Jean Grey figure. And as you can see, once again, bottom corner completely crushed. And the entire box is now sharp and open. So there's that one. There's this one here, which is a Star Wars figure, which was really nice. However, it's once again been crushed just there in the bottom corner, and so much so that it's just come off the base completely. This one here, Jar Jar, once again crushed in the bottom corner. I mean, what is it about the bottom corners in the Huboo? And then finally this one, which I don't know what's happened to this one, to be honest. I think it's probably, yeah, look, it's been crushed again. So that's completely open there. Don't know if you can see, but there. And also this one also has had something dropped on it, because it's also cracked there. Now, I can prove that none of this damage was there when I sent it, because I have the photos on eBay of the listings. None of it's on there. So that's about 90 quid's worth of figures, so nothing too dramatic. But I got that in was it yesterday, or I think it was yesterday or the day before, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I got this big issue with to Martin and to my account manager and said, look, I've got damaged goods, and to top it all, Huboo charged me for picking, packing materials and shipping 2 items that were returned to me that I packed and shipped out myself from here. And yet Huboo still magically figured that they'd charge me picking, packing and shipping on items that didn't exist in the warehouse. So clearly this issue of them overcharging you and charging you for non-existent work is still happening. And I brought this up months and months ago with them. I said, look, I'm being charged for stuff that you didn't do. It's still happening. So nothing in the company has changed. So anyway, This has been like a half an hour. I tried to avoid just ranting randomly about them. I know some of you may see this as a rant, but to be honest, I've tried just to stick to what happened to me. This is my experience with Huboo. Everybody's going to be different. I would still say to people, try them. You know, if you are that way minded and you really had your heart set on trying them, don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to other YouTubers. Try them. But just be aware that there are people out there that have had shocking experiences of feeling undervalued, of feeling lied to, being charged ghost fees, you know, cheated, I felt, when those were still being put on my account. Account managers that I felt didn't really care about me. I had a new account manager that didn't even know how the system worked and tried to, you know, when I was still making sales on items that were being shipped back to me, I said, look, I can't send this out now because it's in transit. And I've got to ship this item today. And, well, according to the dashboard, you still have it. I know you haven't got it because it should be in a DPD box on its way back to me. So what am I going to do? And they were telling me things like, well, you have to go into the dashboard and you have to zero all your stock. You can't do that as a user. It's Huboo side only. It's just grayed out. You can't even unlink a channel if you've got a listing that's linked. So unlink a store, I should say. That's all on them. And when I informed her, I said, hang on, that's not how the system works. She's then like, oh, sorry, I guess you've been with Huboo longer than I have. I'm like, my own account manager doesn't know how the system works. How, you know, anyway, that's going into a bit of rant territory. So anyway, I'm going to try and shorten this video a bit. I didn't want this video to be the first one that I put on my channel in ages, but I had to get it out there. I know there are other resellers out there having disastrous times with Huboo. Please put any of your experiences in the comments if you feel like sharing. Good or bad. This isn't an anti-Huboo video. It's, well, my experience since making that live video with Nick and Andrea. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with me for like half an hour on this. There will be more videos to come. I'm going to be doing picking videos because I now have a storage unit. So might be quite cool. Might not be. Don't know. I'm also going to be doing a bit more with my hauls. I do regular auctions now. I do kind of like a mystery pickup haul as well once every week or so. And it really is just a carload of stuff that I have no idea what it is. It's a mystery to me. So I thought that might be quite cool just to go through some of those boxes and bags and what have you and just see what I've got. It could be money wasted. It could be an absolute gem. You just never know. So anyway, thank you for watching. Really appreciate everyone that's still subbed to me even though I haven't made a video in months. So anyway, thank you for watching and I'll speak to you again soon.